This is going to be a very lively podcast. I'm just warning you now.
Dave, do you think this is going to be a lively podcast?
I thought it was going to be a lably podcast. Or lavely, like you're going to the lavatory in a bit.
Let's try that one again. Dave, do you think our podcast is going to be lively on the Bill Simmons podcast?
Of course.
What makes you think that?
Because it'll probably be lively, too, because one of us is going to have to go to the bathroom.
Dave, you just cannot let the lively joke go.
Nah.
It's the Bill Simmons podcast. I'm Chris.
I'm Dave.
Welcome back, special guest host Dave from Ramping with Dave. Dave, what kind of podcast are you expecting?
A lively one.
Jesus Christ. Welcome, Dave.
Hey, Chris, my man, who can somehow almost turn the word toward into almost 3 syllables.
Me?
Yeah.
Toward?
Uh-huh.
What's the third syllable?
You almost turned it into toward.
You just say it like it's T-W-A-R-D, like sword, toward.
T-O-R-D.
I see.
Toward.
Well, do you want to go to Merriam-Webster to see how wrong you are?
Toward.
Dave, there were 3 podcasts from Bill Simmons on the Bill Simmons podcast the week of December 28th, 2020. That's how far behind we are. The first was with Cousin Sal, 139. Nice and brief.
Exactly a month, huh?
No. Maybe exactly 4 weeks, I guess. No.
Exactly a month, December 22nd.
I thought I said December 28th.
I thought you said December 22nd.
December 28th. Well, it is December 28th.
Okay, almost a month.
The second was with Jackie McMullen and Bob Ryan, 15456. It's the Bill Simmons podcast.
Yeah, here we go.
Dave, on the first podcast from it's in dispute, but we think possibly a month ago exactly. 3 seconds in, listen to this word.
A lot of parlays blown.
Do you know what the past tense of the word blow is?
Well, it depends how you use it. It would be blew, but have blown or things were blown.
Yes, not blown.
Blown. It's a combination. It's blown.
That's what happens when you play a video game against a piece of cured Italian lunch meat and you pwn him.
Oh, that's good. I thought it was when you somehow put a loaf of bologna into a pressure cooker, set it to the yogurt setting or whatever, and then it comes out with two loaves of bologna. You blown. You blown.
Very specific.
Yeah, because that's the food cloning that I think of. It's yogurt. You put a little bit of yogurt with a bunch of milk. You let it do its thing, and then it turns into a bunch more yogurt. Right?
Dave, I tried to make yogurt in a sous vide bath a couple times 2 days ago. The first time, the glass broke while it was allegedly sous viding and just turned the
milk
sous vide water gross and gunky.
Yeah.
And then the second time, I dropped the jar and spilled the milk all over the place. Never even got to the yogurting stage.
Did you cry about it?
I had bright white tears staining my cheeks with lactose.
No, I was, I guess you violated
Dave.
the old thing. There's no sense crying in spilled milk, overspilled milk.
Yeah, no, I knew where the joke was going.
Okay, good. All right.
Moving on to more food talk at 1 minute and 7 seconds. I have always hated and will always hate the way Bill Simmons says onion.
Crisp tart pickles and crunchy onions.
Always says onions, like there's a G in it, at least one G, possibly more than one G. Onions.
Crunchy onions.
It's like when you have a redneck person who is watching out for the young shallots. They're onions as opposed to youngins.
Yeah. No, that's just the crumbs at the bottom of the bag of Stoner's favorite snack, Funyuns. Funyuns, I don't know.
At 156, our favorite reason for using the podcast app Spotify.
You can change speeds. You can listen to me at 1.2 speed.
Also, Dave, as you know, we hate Spotify, regardless of what my wife says. Will not listen to it. Have not listened to the Rob Harvilla podcast about 90s music because it's a Spotify only. Would love to listen to it, but fuck you, Spotify.
Okay.
Pearl Jam at 2:15. At 2:37, this time zone reference.
Pacific times.
At 7:18 is Swallow.
Right. Whereas
At 8:36, unnecessary article.
Washington has some dude named Heineken.
At 12:54 is Swallow.
Weird. Rams, Bears, Cardinals.
At 13:38, I feel like he's taking a shot at all of the Golden Girls.
Every game has these 2 other wrinkles.
2 other wrinkles. The games have a variety of wrinkles, but these games have 2 extra wrinkles. Not the normal amount of wrinkles, not 3 extra wrinkles, but 2.
They have 2 other ones. Why the Golden Girls, though?
Well, because maybe if the Golden Girls was a show about two old people, and then suddenly there's these two extra wrinkles, and they're like, okay, fine, Rue McClanahan, you can hang out with B. Arthur and Betty White, and who played Sophia?
I don't know. I never hated on the show, really. I just really never got it at all. I don't know if it's just not for me or if I'm missing something, but I never saw the appeal. I just never found any of the humor funny or anything like that. Not for me.
At 1808, Peace.
The other
Literally.
piece, the other frustrating piece was,
At 21:45, This Swallow.
Right.
and they're like, oh, these guys are friends. It's like, well,
Dave, do you remember, you have a child, she's like, what, 2.5?
Yeah.
I have two kids. They're 6 and 9, almost 10. I fondly look back on the first time I was able to provide them with this experience, referenced by Bill at 23:43.
anyone who has kids, I include myself, I have two, remembers the first time they brought their kid to McDonald's and gave them the McRib.
Do you remember fondly looking back on that time
No.
you gave your kid a McRib?
No.
What
the
memories?
first McRib, quote unquote, was at my elementary school cafeteria, and it was like what everyone craved, and it was like a subpar McRib, so it really wasn't very good. I don't know if I've ever had a McRib. Well, no, not only have I never given my kid McRib, that's for sure. I don't know if I've had a McRib from McDonald's in my life.
At 24:55, This Swallow.
Their backup guy can't complete a pass.
At 24:56, Unnecessary Article.
No team had ever gone 11-0 and then lost their next four.
At 27:17, Laughter.
So you gotta think.
At 27:54, Bill botches this cliche.
Oh, we kind of lost our eyes on the prize for a second.
He's trying to say that they had their eyes on the prize and that they no longer had their eyes on the prize. And as a result, their eyes were lost.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely could take your eyes off the prize. You could lose sight of the prize.
Yeah, exactly. That's what you should say.
I don't think that you would lose your eyes on the prize unless
Yes.
eyes on the prize is one noun that stands for the whole idea that you lost. I don't know.
Well, he had his eyes on the prize, and then they disappeared, and they were unable to locate his eyes, the ones that were on the prize, and as a result, lost. At 29:57, This Laughter.
Well, they're locked in the two now.
At 30:40, This Laughter.
It would turn on a dime.
Listen to this game show pitch at 30:49, and then tell me what you think you have to do in order to play this game.
Tanking or trying would have been a fun game show for this game.
The game is called Tanking or Trying.
That's not what I heard.
The
but
game show goes like this. Are they tanking or trying? And then one person says whether they're tanking or trying, and then that person is either right or wrong, and then that's the whole game. What do you think?
So how do I think that it's played, or do I think that would be fun?
Yeah. Do you think you could get 22 minutes plus commercials out of this game?
Is it like feats of physical strength? Is it mind games? Like, what are we talking about? Because I think the length of time depends on what type of activity it is.
This is the way it works. You're watching a football game, and then there's a game show called Tanking or Trying. The purpose of the game show is you have to guess whether one of the teams playing is tanking or trying to win the game.
I see. Okay. I don't like it. I think it would be boring.
Yeah, also, it would be like 30 seconds long.
You're either right or wrong, I guess. It's just too boring. Not enough possibilities.
How do you think the theme song would go?
Probably something along the lines of the Monday Night Football theme song, which isn't bad. Da-da-da-da.
Da-da-da-da.
Da-da-da-da-da.
Da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, pretty good.
Thanks.
At 37:15, this stat sounds kind of like a venereal disease.
Did you see there's a stat going around?
I like how Bill's concept of sports journalism is there are statistics, and then of those statistics, some of them make their way around sports journalism, possibly like the kissing disease.
What's that, herpes?
No, that's mono is the kissing disease.
Oh, right. I had that in sixth grade. I have no idea because I definitely hadn't kissed anybody.
Herpes?
Yeah. No, I didn't have herpes, but I did have mono.
At 37:42, changes in the way the sport is played.
That's going to change because there's teams playing each other.
Right.
Now, there are teams playing each other.
Teams playing each other.
He's talking about the NFL, where now they're heading into the playoffs and suddenly the games matter, as opposed to at the end of the season where some teams didn't really care.
Okay. That's right. This is from December 28th.
Now, Dave, there's a game that Bill Simmons plays every Sunday night with Cousin Sal, and the game is called
Tanking or trying.
Yes. And it's 30 seconds long, and it's got a sweet theme song.
Yeah.
But the game that they actually play is called Guess the Lines, which they've been doing for like more than a decade on the Bill Simmons podcast. And what they do is they try to figure out what lines Vegas is going to set for the upcoming week's NFL games. So the game is called Guess the Lines.
Okay.
Here's what Bill says at 40-24.
All right, we're going to do all the Guess the Lines in a second.
What he means is we're going to guess the lines in a second, or we're going to play Guess the Lines, but you don't do Guess the Lines. I mean, I guess you could. It works better than saying doing all the Guess the Lines.
Hey, you want to go do a walk?
Yeah, right, exactly.
You want to go do a bike ride?
It's kind of like when the English people are like, hey, would you like to have some lunch? And then the other person says, I guess we could do.
How long ago was that?
English people still say that shit.
How do they? I didn't know that. Kind of like some Oliver Twist things.
At 41-32, this laughter.
Hold on a second. How do you win tanking or trying, by the way? Who's ever going to find out, oh, yes, this team positively was tanking?
That's the great mystery.
So you just guess trying every time because that's what everybody's going to say?
Well, that's what they would say if you go to the players or the teams. I think maybe it's who comes up with a better explanation for their answer, you know?
Okay.
All right, here's more Guess the Lines shenanigans at 46-36.
We're going to try to figure out Guess the Lines.
Again, the game is called Guess the Lines. He is not trying to figure out the game. What he's trying to do is guess the lines. You don't have to figure it out. You just guess the lines.
Yeah, okay.
At 46-56, more English.
There's no limit to how good this line get.
What word do you think Bill left out there? At 48-01, this botch.
Tennessee.
At 58-24, Bill is not listening to himself, which is why he uses the completely wrong word here.
It's basically the Miami's going home team.
The Miami is going home bet. He is betting that Miami is going home. He is not betting that Miami is going home team.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he thinks they're going home, so he's betting on it. He doesn't think they're going home, so team.
Right.
At 59-52, this swallow.
Mm-hmm. The Giants make it.
At 103-31, this snort.
Try to win.
At 104-48, Bill compares the NFC East to something cinematic. What do you think it is?
What was a terrible, terrible, awful movie that came out recently?
Freddie Got Fingered?
Probably that. Never saw it. I thought American Pie 2 was really just awful. What else is terrible? I mean, I barely watch any movies. And so when I do decide to watch a movie, it's because people have said it's great. So I really haven't wasted much time on bad movies in my life.
Well, here's his comparison.
This division was like a documentary.
A documentary on what?
Not any documentary in particular, not a specific documentary.
So he doesn't specify? He doesn't follow up? He doesn't specify? Like this isn't out of context or anything? This division was just like 4 football teams. Like you're just saying just a fact that's undisputed. But yeah, you could definitely make a documentary. It wouldn't be good.
Oh, speaking of giving up, at 106-24, this bail.
The words are just, and then he goes in and Haskins.
What he's saying is, from a fairness standpoint, the words are just.
Uh-huh.
At 108-34, sounds uncomfortable.
But he started doing it on memory.
I think he means from memory, not on memory.
It's like when something happens on accident. I think on accident is completely wrong. I've only heard silly people and dumb people say it.
At 109-23, I think there's a lot to unpack here.
It's these two different muscles that aren't related to each other, and you're on live television.
Yeah, you're like playing a video game and cooking dinner at the same time.
Right. It's like you're playing Miss Pac-Man while you're also talking to 5 people.
Now, first of all, he starts with the Joe Bluth nominee, where he stutters and sputters. Then he goes on to say that the muscles you use when you're doing live television and pointing to things while on live television are unrelated muscles.
It's these two different muscles that aren't related to each other.
And then says, by way of explaining how challenging that is, that it's like playing Miss Pac-Man while talking to 5 people. Now, first of all, not muscles. Second of all, have you ever played a video game while talking to somebody and the person you're talking to was not talking to you about the video game?
God, all the time. Probably most times I'm playing a video game and someone's there.
Yeah, all the time, right?
Or possibly also like when you're playing Fortnite, online.
Yep.
And you're talking about work.
We do that.
It happens a lot.
Terrible Fortnite noobs, yes, but it's fun. At 113-24, Bill continues to not pay attention to his words.
I just wish he wouldn't play football on a game that I gambled on anymore.
On the game.
Because if they're playing football on a game, and it's a game I'm betting on, perhaps they'll slip and fall while they're playing football on that game and crush the game.
They're footballing a bet on a play, like just rearrange it any number of ways. Still doesn't make any sense.
At 114-07, unnecessary article.
Aikman.
At 114-13, thing.
It's all over.
He's like a kinship thing.
At 1:15:18, swallow.
Character has superpowers.
At 1:18:09, snort. At 1:18:36, I'm going to continue to criticize Bill's pronunciation. Here it is the word among.
Rams defense is among.
It's among the... Okay, I got it.
Among.
Yeah, like those people in Southeast Asia.
Yes.
Mong, Hmong. Mong. They make good sausage. It's got like garlic, cilantro, onions, ginger.
At 1:19:06, this laughter.
We just can't. We can't.
At 1:21:56, this laughter. At 1:27:56, unnecessary article.
You can't come on the FaceTime?
At 1:30:24, how many weekends have they been asking?
My wife and my 2 kids have been asking all weekends.
All weekends.
Yes, all the weekends.
All weekends. All 52 of them, dude.
At 1:31:19,
I still don't understand, though, what's fun about having a bunny part.
Bill's producer, engineer, editor, and nephew, Kyle, who we call Cousin Kyle, got a bunny with his girlfriend. And Bill is trying to figure out why. So he says that he doesn't understand the what's the fun about having a bunny part of having a bunny.
I thought he was talking about what's so funny about having a bunny park. A bunny park would be cute as long as it was well taken care of.
See, the problem is he starts almost all of his sentences, it seems, with the, which is why he has so many unnecessary articles where he says the and then switches what he's going to say. So what he started to say was, I don't understand what's so fun about the, and then realizes, oh, now I have to figure out some phrase that gets at what I'm trying to get at, but also follows the.
Yeah.
So what he should have said was, I don't understand what's fun about having a bunny. But instead, because he started it for no reason with the article the, he has to say the what's fun about having a bunny part.
Yeah.
Which makes it all sound unnecessary and convoluted.
Set himself up for failure from the get-go.
At 1:32:16, this laughter. At 1:33:23, subject-verb agreement.
So wait, is there 2 strollers or 1?
Should be, are there 2? At 1:34:47, this laughter.
Loser. This eliminate.
At 1:36:41, bad branding.
That's it for the BS podcast.
We'll be back after this.
Try to win.
Hey America, give that food a new attitude with natural cheese. Give it the flavor of a country fair. Give it the tang that brings your food some flair. Give American food a new attitude with cheese. Give it the kick of a bluegrass fest. Give it a chance to taste its best. Cheese adds life to the old recipes. Give American food a new attitude with cheese.
My wife just entered the room and is making a bunch of what the faces at me. I think she's overheard just my side of the podcast so far. And she's looking at
Was
me
she like,
very strangely. What podcast? All right, hold on a sec. Let's unplug these headphones so you can tell her. What's this
well,
podcast
Mandis,
that we're
I'm sure
doing?
you would
Tell
guess,
Amanda.
based on Dave's deep discussion of surnames, this is a podcast about the Bill Simmons podcast.
Yeah.
He deserves it.
Why are we doing this, she says. Okay.
Well, whatever makes you happy, man.
Yeah, unexpected guest speaker. I don't know if she'll be edited out or not.
Dave, she doesn't know we've made more than $1,200 in almost 2 years.
I didn't know it's been that much.
April 1st.
Pretty good.
I feel it would be pretty.
Oh,
The only one to
they beat.
Oh. Ooh.
Gets,
Wow. So you,
Oh.
it's demoralized. Oh, wow. For the Rams.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
wow.
So- Oh, yeah. So take.
Wow.
Oof.
Yeah.
Wow.
Run away up in the off season, and I don't know how much and understand it. And geez,
Wow.
and
Oh, wow.
Try to fight. There's I just
Dave, on the second podcast of that week, which was many weeks ago, though the number of weeks and or months is in dispute, this podcast from December 30th featured Jackie MacMullen and Bob Ryan, 1 hour, 54 minutes, and 56 seconds.
Hey, is Mac as opposed to Mick Scottish? M-A-C, Scottish, where M-C, Mick, is Irish? Is there any truth to that?
I have no idea.
Oh.
You should Google it.
Oh.
At 2:43, Pearl Jam. At 3:25, a swallow.
Plus the NBA
At 3:33, this swallow.
quarter or whatever. It's been easier than ever
2 out of 3 mixed surnames originating in Ireland. 2 out of 3 Mac surnames originating in Scotland.
Oh, and I guess that means the other 1/3 of each is from the other country?
Yeah, I think so. It's some interrelated Gaelic.
At 3:40, this swallow.
TV. And really zooms.
At 7:36, he's missing a word.
The thing that I was surprised.
He does this a lot lately.
The thing that I was surprised.
Yes. At 8:41, more bad verb.
This kid's won everywhere he's went.
Should be one everywhere he has gone.
Yeah. That's English 101, for God's sake.
At 9:16, more bad talk.
Especially Indiana, a team they have to be better at.
I mean, I guess he could be saying when they play at Indiana, they have to be better there. At 14:21, this swallow.
Videos like the one.
At 14:26, this swallow.
Just really.
At 14:41, this swallow.
He's still the most fun to watch.
At 2017, this Elmer Fudd.
Could not be more pleased.
At 2031, checkpoint.
He has hit every checkpoint that Paul George did.
What do you mean checkpoint? Is he playing somebody in chess and he thought that's what you say when you win?
Yeah, no, he doesn't understand how it works. He seems to think that when you get better at a game or a sport or some professional endeavor, you have to hit checkpoints along the way. This has evolved from him saying you have to check the box next to some skill that you have to get good at. Dave, that was a huge gulp. What was that? You drinking kombucha?
I held my phone so far away from my face. I can't believe you heard that.
Unreal.
Oh, maybe these new iPhone headphones. Oh my God. I think it has a microphone built into it.
Are they the wireless kind?
No, it's the kind that plugs into the iPhone 11. So it doesn't have a headphone jack anymore. It goes into the charger jack. It's the kind that came with it. And now I'm just looking and there's this thing on the side.
Right.
That looks like it has a little microphone icon. I held my phone very far from my face so I could take a big gulp of water because my mouth was getting dry. And I guess, you heard it really loud. Yep, there's definitely a microphone there. Sorry about that.
All right, moving on, Dave. We got to get to something much more important, which is me asking you this prepared question. Dave, what is a head scratcher?
Well, I remember this time at the mall when high school, I was walking through with some people who I was friends with at the time. One of whom was going insane and had quite a rocky adulthood. And one of those guys at the kiosks in the middle of the aisle or whatever, in the ground floors, they have to harass you as you go by. Now we all have smartphones that we can pretend like we're staring at or really be staring at so we can just ignore them. But back then there was no such thing. So you kind of had to talk to the guy so you didn't plow into him or walk around him.
Yeah, nice use of plow.
But he was saying he's saying that he's got this thing. It looks like a whisk. Like if you cut off the tip of a whisk.
Yep.
Cut off the tip of a whisk, a metal whisk that's real wide.
Yeah.
And then you put it on the back of your head, like where men go bald first usually, on the back of your head. Mm-hmm. You do it there and then you press it down and it sort of scratches and expands.
Yeah. And
bends the little metal things and expands and sort of then just scratches your head real good. That's a head scratcher.
Yeah. This is what he says.
But anyways, the guy at the mall, the guy at the mall did it on me. And I was pretty uncomfortable by it, but he was doing it. And then he was like, it makes girls horny. It's he kept saying it makes girls horny. And then the one guy who I was talking about earlier was like, yeah, but in his case, it makes guys horny. Ha ha.
Oh, got you with the burn.
I guess he was making a joke that I was gay or whatever, even though we see how that turned out, I guess,
Because you have
he's the
a
gay
wife.
One. I'm just kidding. He's not gay. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you notice any sort of arousal when the guy used the head scratcher on you?
There was this shoot of goosebumps down my spine, all the way down to my butt crack. So yeah, definitely did tingle. It was good. He got me.
Here's the answer, Dave, at 21:58.
And then some head scratchers, and then we'll go. Just some things that have me scratching my head.
The correct answer was a head scratcher is something that has me scratching my head.
Oh, of course.
A head scratcher is something that has me scratching my head. We'll give you partial credit, Dave.
Okay.
At 22:04, did you just swallow again?
Yeah.
Heard it.
It was almost like a burp that was coming up and it got stuck halfway, so I had to swallow it to fight it down.
At 22:04, this swallow.
The Pistons.
At 31:08, Bob Ryan, who is a professional sports guy, columnist, reporter, working out of the Boston area, I think. He's been on the sports yeller shows. His watch goes off.
Listened to Johnny Most, got upset, and I was et cetera. But went to games my friends, I fell in with a bunch of basketball freaks, of junkies.
Doesn't seem to realize that this is being audio recorded and that his watch's alarm is a fucking audio alarm. At 32:46, this is not how you say this word.
Call them about asterisk titles.
Not asterisk. Now, don't say anything yet, Dave, because he tries it again at 32:51.
Where there's some sort of either asterisk or foot.
So far he has said asterisk.
Asterisk.
And asterisk.
Asterisk.
Do you know how you actually say this word?
Asterisk.
Merriam-Webster?
Asterisk.
Dave, you are correct. In one single try, you got it right. Bill Simmons fails pronouncing the same word differently 5 seconds apart.
Isn't Rick Astor a celebrity of some kind? Not Rick Astley, the give you up guy, but I think there is a Rick Astor.
I think you're thinking about the past tense of when you're trying to pose a query to a female.
Richard interrogated. So, yeah. Did you take care of asking that lady that thing? No, dude, Rick. Okay, we're good then.
Exactly.
Yeah.
At 41:48, no surprise.
Jackie, I started that. I want all the credit.
At 42:37, at 44:19, more old Bob Ryan phone or computer noises.
Good job in NBA history.
Who's Bob Ryan?
He's that old guy that his fucking phone keeps going off, but he's also like a reporter or whatever. He's on those sports yeller shows like Sports Reporters. At 57:27, Bill is talking about from whom he learned the most about basketball. And he comes up with this.
I learned more from Bob about basketball growing up than anybody. My dad's probably either 1A or 1B in that conversation.
First of all, if his dad is 1B, who is 1A?
Yeah.
And also, why does he not just say, my dad is number 2? Why does he have to say 1A and 1B?
Yeah. Maybe
is there a C?
He doesn't want to make his dad sound like he's actually second place. So it's sort of like a consolation prize. Oh, yeah, you're first place too. You're just not as good as first place as the other guy.
Yeah. Listen, if we were to line you up.
I think he can't figure out where he wants to or how he wants to do his scoring system, because if first place is 1A, then his dad being 1B means he's in second place. But if he starts it at 1,
no, first place is 1, and then second place is 1A, and then third place is 1B.
Yeah, it says you, though, but maybe he doesn't know if he's doing it like that, though. That's what I'm saying. Maybe that's his own confusion, where he's not sure that if the best is 1 or if the best is 1A, and there just is no 1.
At 101.29, this laughter.
And he can't get past it. No, it's true.
At 107.01, this laughter. At 108.23, try to guess what the verb is in this sentence.
If you took like 1983 McHale and 2020'd him.
What do you think?
2020'd him.
Yep. The verb is a form of 2020.
So you 2020 somebody.
At 111.13, and what has to be corporate scripting, okay. Bill says this about Scott toilet paper.
Scott brand toilet paper has been trusted for generations.
He then goes on to say it works as expected.
Being the reliable choice that works as expected every time.
Dave, it's worrisome that the toilet paper industry has to tout one of its products as saying, when you go to wipe your privates with it, it functions correctly. Because doesn't that imply that other people's toilet paper is not that reliable?
Yeah, or it's just sort of like a shaving off of a tree, unprocessed, unfiltered. Just tear your asshole up.
Several seconds later, he then goes on to say this.
It's easy to grab and go, allowing you to be efficient with your time and live life uninterrupted.
Dave, have you ever dealt with, and you're sort of an aficionado when it comes to bowel movements, have you ever dealt with toilet paper that was not easy to grab and or go?
Grab and go? Oh, I mean, every toilet paper roll, no matter what type of brand it is, it's going to be hard to bring somewhere with you. I guess you got fluffier rolls and harder rolls. You can compress one into a more flat form, but I don't really know of anybody who's taken any tickets anywhere with them. They're usually provided, you know.
I always felt like the issue was it is easy once it's mounted on the wall next to the toilet to unspool it and then tear it off the larger roll. That's what I thought grab and go means.
I thought it was like a sort of a portable packet of tissues.
Have you ever found that wiping after number 2, the toilet paper made you inefficient? Maybe he's thinking about like the waxy, cheap government kind that requires like twice as many wipes, and that Scott is therefore more efficient at wiping. Okay, I can kind of buy that one.
Yeah, if you get the soft kind, you know, you only need like maybe 1 or 2 little squares, fold it over, use it again, clear off anything that's left. But that real thin stuff, yeah, you really got to roll that over a whole lot. So there's like maybe 15, 20 layers before it's thick enough. So you just at least protect your fingers.
So it's much less efficient.
Yeah, you got to use a lot more of it. It still doesn't feel good.
At what point in the wiping your ass do you feel like your life is unnecessarily interrupted by the paper?
The interruption is taking a fucking trip to the bathroom, having to put your life on hold no matter what, or otherwise you're going to make an embarrassment mess out of yourself. I mean, what you could really market that as is some type of adult diaper brand that's going to seal in all the liquid, the smell, and not look like you got a big fat wearing it. That's how you can avoid your interruption.
Okay, gotcha.
The toilet paper has nothing to do with it, for sake. Unless you can always keep it in your pocket. So you'd be like, oh, well, I guess I sat down on this toilet without checking to see if there was toilet paper first. Now what do? Call someone to come bring me a roll? No, thank God I got this Scott grab and go in my pocket. Wow, my life is so convenient. Too bad I had to pull over at this guy's rest stop on I-80 to take a to begin with and take a huge dent out of my trip and get infection on my ass because of it.
At 113.18, this laughter. At 122.56, this laughter. At 128.07, this laughter.
And
at 133.03, a Buffalo Bill nominee.
I lost my mind.
At 139.02, this swallow.
I'd recommend Alabama,
At 139.15, this swallow.
such as enhanced odds boost.
More swallows from Dave in the background.
Drinking coffee.
Gross.
That's not gross. You don't drink coffee?
Oh, I do drink coffee, but the swallowing noises are gross. You should know this more than anybody. You're the biggest.
I'm sorry.
What's the word?
No.
Like
Misophonous.
Yeah. At 147.23, more old man computer noise.
They don't even go to the joints. They go.
At 150, this laughter.
you know, right? You know what I'm saying? So there is a difference. It's
Right, misophonic.
Should be misophobic. At 152.36, more old man phone computer noise.
Deteriorated into it's scary.
At 153.49, bad branding.
All right, that's it for the BS podcast.
Hey, guys. Well, it's the end of the podcast now. I hope you enjoyed the content.
Dave, thanks for joining us this week on the Bill Simmons podcast.
Thanks for having me. I can tell you back in, hey, listen, real quick. I mean, if you don't mind, real quick, back in college, we played a lot of Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
Dave, I don't mind.
College, we played a whole lot of Smash Brothers for the 64, and we had this regular crew of like, I don't know, at least the regulars, there was probably about 6 regulars, but then there was a lot more other than that who played like off and on from time to time, and maybe like 15 or 20 of us. And we divided it into tiers eventually, but then what we started doing was 1A, 1B, 2A, 2B, but there was no tier 1. So if you were in tier 1A, you were in the best tier. If you were in tier 1B, you were still really good. You just weren't quite as good as tier 1A. And if you were markedly worse than anybody in tier 1, that's what put you in 2A. And then if you're a little worse than them, it's 2B. It's just sort of worked out where there was like skill levels, just like separate, distinct, like proficiency levels at the game. And there was then a skill set.
What tier were you in?
Within each tier. So I was tier 1A. Of course. And there was, I think Amanda wound up being in 2A. So,
But for example, I mean, Among Us, she was, not nearly as good. But then when she has played other people in Smash, out in like not related to us or whatever, she just houses them, kicks their ass because she's had that good training. So 2A is still really good. It's the lowest tier.
Tier 2B the lowest tier?
Because if you get into tier 3, then it's just
well, what's the lowest tier anybody was on?
Tier 3 because nobody wanted to play with them anyway. So everybody wound up sort of fitting into tier 1, and tier 2.
Because I was going to make some kind of a Smokey Robinson joke about how tier 3 was the tier of a clown. But why don't you just have tier 1, 2, 3, and 4? Why did you have to have these?
No, because what was so weird was
Wouldn't
that
have been just as
the
easy?
first 2 skill sets were very close, but the third skill set was markedly worse than the second one. Like there was no like gradual grading of skill set. It was like you had like an elite group that was really, really good. That was, half of them were kind of a little bit better than the others. But then there wasn't anybody like a little bit worse than the people in tier 1B. So that's why it was like you go all the way down to tier 2A at that point because it's a kind of a steep, a far drop from that first. I kind of have to map it out for you. I have to show you like names and stuff and be like, okay, these people played all the time. They were really good. These guys were a little better than the rest. And then these people played kind of often. It sort of correlated with how often you played.
Like there was the regulars who would show up every day.
Well, Dave, I do have to say that I find it extremely fascinating, the various skill levels and rankings of you and your college buddies when you would play video games. But we have to move on to this podcast.